Hi everybody, it's been a while. Haven't really been playing Constructed Magic at all, but there is a historic arena qualifier, I guess it's called, happening this weekend, and there have been a whole bunch of cards printed since the last time I really played Tainted Pact, so I wanted to try playing Tainted Pact in it. Been working on this deck a fair amount. It's pretty different from the way I've played Tainted Pact in the historic in the past, or at least there's a lot of changes. So I'm going to go over those, and then I'm going to play in one of the play-in qualifiers and see how it goes. So big picture, one of the things that's different is I had switched to usually playing Grixis in Historic when I would play Tainted Pact. Sometimes I would play Esper. Because the way that the lands used to work, it didn't really cost you that much to add a third color, and you did get some additional power level. Just, by being able to splash a Teferi or Lelia or Expressive Iteration cards like that. But now there have been so many dual lands printed, and one of the best new ones is Prismatic Vista, which really wants you to just play basic lands. I think it's better to go back to playing just straight blue-black. So this deck, I've got Prismatic Vista and Fabled Passage. I've got all four of the basics you can play between Swamp, Snow-Covered Swamp, Island, and Snow-Covered Island. And then there's also like an Undercity Sewers, which is a newish card. One thing you can do to get enough untapped lands is you can just play as many pathways as you want, basically. They're just effectively... This is an island that doesn't count as an island. I'm never going to play it on the red side. That is the only one that I've got in my deck that's like that, but if for some reason you wanted to get more untapped lands in your deck, you could just add more pathways of whichever color you feel like you're lacking. This deck does have more tap lands than you would really like in Historic. Historic's really fast right now, because I think that the main deck that you'd want to be gunning for is like the red-white energy deck. Well, it's not really that energy focused, but the deck, it's got a Johnny, it's got the Ocelot's Pride, Guide of Souls. That deck can put you under a really fast clock. So it's just a fast aggro deck. So then my spell choices are mostly based on trying to be good against that deck. So if you look, I've got Glistening Deluge in my main deck. I wanted a third sweeper between Path of Peril, which I've played in the past, Toxic Deluge, which is another new card. I actually wanted a third sweeper because you really want a sweeper a lot of the times that you get paired against that deck. So that's why I've got three of those. I've got Waterlogged Teachings, which is kind of the card that got me into trying this deck again, just because it's a blue-black tap land, but it also allows you to just tutor for Tainted Pact, or I guess occasionally you'd get something other than Tainted Pact, but it's mostly just a split card that's a blue-black tap land or a way to get a Tainted Pact into your hand. What else is interesting? So I do have a fair amount of spot removal, and like I said, I'm mostly picking my removal spells because I want them to be good against the white-red deck, which is why I've got so many one-mana ones. Like I've got Bloodchief's Thirst in my deck, in part because I wanted a card that was a cheap answer to a Flip to Johnny. And then I've got Cut Down and Fatal Push just because they're great. And then I have Sheoldred's Edict in my deck, in part because it is a way to kill a Flip to Johnny. I only have one 2-mana just black kill a creature card. I think Go for the Throat is the best of the options. I played for a while with Heartless Act, but specifically against that white-red deck, if they get some counters on a creature from Guide of Souls, it's kind of annoying that your Heartless Act, you can't kill it. Other things of note. Oh, I have Spell Snare and Stern Scolding in my main deck. Those are both also excellent cards against the white-red deck. I think Spell Snare is just generally like a very good card. I haven't encountered many matchups where you actually want to board it out. And it is really good against that white-red deck. Same thing with Stern Scolding. I have a 3 Steps Ahead. That's another new card. This is... it's not great as a 3-mana counter, but the flexibility to loot with the last of the spree modes is pretty nice. I don't know that I've ever used the 3-mana create a token that's a copy mode out of this deck, but maybe if you play enough games, it'll come up. I think those are most of the things that are of note. I do think that Change the Equation is still a pretty good main deck card. Again, I mean, just because it's sort of like a 2-mana Spell Snare. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised when I put Spell Snare in my deck, and it was good, given that I was already playing with Change the Equation in my deck. Looking at the sideboard, I do have some other new cards. I've got Flusterstorm. This is basically just an upgraded miscast. Thankfully, Flusterstorm has not gotten super popular on Arena since it's been printed. When I used to play a lot of Legacy and Magic Online, sometimes you would have to Flusterstorm your opponent's Flusterstorms, and doing that in any sort of digital client is going to be miserable. I've yet to have to do that in Arena. It is a lot of very careful clicking to do it right. I've moved Spell Pierce out of my main deck, actually. I'm playing Spell Snare over Spell Pierce. I think Spell Snare is a much better main deck card right now. Spell Pierce isn't a horrible main deck card. If you really wanted to, I guess you could move it into the main deck. I have 2 creatures in my sideboard, Psychic Frog and Tameo. These are in case I played against some sort of blue or grindy deck where I wanted to have a few extra threats and some more card advantage. That's when I would board those in. Duress, kind of obviously, against blue decks or just spell-heavy decks. So my sideboard plan against the white-red deck is I board in Rave, Enfeeblement, Cry of the Carnarium, and Noxious Grasp. And I'm going to take out Narset, Sleight of Hand, and Censor. So that's what those 3 cards in the sideboard are for. Negate, just generally good. Soul Guide Lantern, obviously. Graveyard decks. Ether Gust, I think, is a generally good card. I don't know that there's any specific deck I've put it in my sideboard for. Really, I played a decent amount of Historic, and I played against that white-red deck probably 2/3 of the time. So I have a very specific sideboard plan against that deck, and everything else is a little bit more speculative. I don't know why I have Disruptor Flute in my sideboard. It seems like a good sideboard card, but I haven't found a match where I really want to play with it. But you don't want it against white-red, and so I don't know. I don't really know what else to be prepared for outside of just the white-red deck. And then this is a nerfed copy of the One Ring. It's the alchemy version of the One Ring. This is like if somebody played a Waste Not deck against me, or probably against a lot of controlling blue decks. Really any matchup where you don't care very much about your life total, and you need to just get more cards. Because once you board the One Ring into this deck, you're not really going to be able to get rid of it very easily. You're kind of going to be on a clock to win the game as soon as you start getting some counters on it. I think the only way to get it off the board in this deck would be Otawara. I guess you can also copy it with 3 steps ahead to reset it. There might be some other thing you could do, but those are the 2 things that I can see right now. And you could Snapcaster the 3 steps ahead. But basically, once you put the One Ring in play, you're going to have a hard time getting rid of it. So you're kind of putting yourself under pressure to win. But it is incredibly powerful while you've got it going on. All right. I think that's enough about the deck. Let's actually play some rounds. All right. Reasonable hand. Usually people reveal Loris as their companion because they're playing that white-red beatdown deck. So it's a mystery deck. You see a Rogrim Triome. Probably Mazemind Tome is going to be good against the deck that has Sulphur Falls and Rogrim Triome in it. Although not all that likely to resolve. Let's see. I think you'd have to be a maniac to have Dovin's Veto in your deck right now. I guess no more lies exists. So that's way more reasonable. Hand's looking pretty bad now that Mazemind Tome didn't resolve. Okay, they missed a land drop, so I'm not even going to play Impulse. I'm just going to make my land drops. guessing they're land drop. Alright, that's a pretty... Soaring's Ransom's a pretty good card. But again, I'm not in a hurry, so... I think at this point I will cast Impulse. I'm not going to cast Soaring's Ransom and have it get hit by No More Lies. Do I want Tainted Pact or just Archmage's Charm? I think I should take my Archmage's Charm. I don't really know exactly what my opponent's doing, but I think it's probably more important to be able to counter a spell than to have a card that's just going to sit in my hand for a very long time. So they missed a land drop and then they made 3 in a row. I do have some ways to win that don't involve the Jace combo. I've got Hall of Storm Giants, Restless Reef. 2 random cards. 2 cards that... I kind of want to land. I think I'm going to take these 2. Yeah, I'm happy that I did that. And I've got the Hive of the Eye Tyrant in play already. Also have Snapcaster Mage and Rusko in my deck. I'm kind of just, at this point, I'm going to be happy to have nothing happen and just use Castle Vantress to try to find some discard. And then kind of craft my plan once I get to see what's in my opponent's hand. Ooh, that's a good card. Inquisition this turn. Yeah, I think it's alright to do that. I can still cast both my counters with the Resolving the Inquisition. Next turn I know I'm going to draw 3 steps ahead. Alright, so there's just like a Jeskai control deck. I have a good answer to Dream Trawler in my hand. 1 ring. I definitely don't want that one to resolve. I'm going to have to craft a brand new sideboard plan. So I'm hoping that, well, when they cast this Teferi, I'm going to want to 3 steps ahead it and use the 3 steps ahead to loot away Path of Peril. Oh, those are 2 really good cards. I think I want to draw the Snapcaster first. So I can Snapcaster card drawing spell or just discard to hand size. Which would probably be go for the throat. I think I'm going to Snapcaster a card drawing spell. I wonder if they're going to Lightning Helix this. Invert Polarity. Hopefully they don't have eyes in their hand. Probably use this to go get dig through time. I would assume that Snapcaster Mage is even Phage here. You can't bring the Phage back right away. I think the way that their deck is built, they probably should have just been jamming their threats more. I do have a Takenuma in my deck that can get back the Snapcaster Mage, which is why I left it in my graveyard. Digging for no more lies, I assume. If I animate this, attack, Spell Snare, I still have enough mana to counter the Teferi, which it isn't even that bad for me if the Teferi resolves, because I can just Bloodchief's Thirst it and they'll get an extra card. By Phage. Okay. I guess I'm just going to keep on hitting them with the side of the Eye Tyrant. Keeps their graveyard a little bit under control. And it is, you know, slowly I'm going to threaten their life total. I don't know if I'm going to attack next turn if they have all their mana untapped, but that was a pretty easy attack. I generally really dislike playing with Castle Vantress, but that's been good this game. This is one of the cards that I was on the fence as to whether to just play a blue pathway that always comes into play untapped. Polarities are pretty annoying. They have a Hall of Stone Giants in play now. But I have Sheoldred's Edict. Having Cling to Dust is really nice because I'm sure that they have more Snapcasters in their deck. Alright. Do have a lot of sideboard cards for this matchup. I guess Disruptor Flute is pretty good against Teferi. I don't know if I need that. I mean, I have so many cards to board in. We'll see. Definitely don't want the sweepers. I think Sheldred's Edicts is pretty good. Don't think I want Bloodchief's Thirst, Cut Down, Fatal Push. So now we're looking at trimming 2 more. Do I want Stern Scolding? It only hits Snapcaster Mage. Probably not. Definitely want Spell Snare. I think I'm happy with pretty much all these cards. So I don't think I'm going to look for another cut for Disruptor Flute. I'm just going to figure out what card to take out. Usually I take out Sleight of Hand if I don't see anything else I really want to take out. I think it's the weakest main deck card just in general. Good hand. I guess I want to have access to Censor on turn 3 in case they jam a Narset, rather than having to use my Spell Pierce. So I won't try to get the Restless Reef in play that turn. I don't have like a Thought Distortion in my sideboard, just because the style of deck my opponent is playing is really uncommon. So I don't have anything amazing to find with the Tainted Pact. Like sometimes if you have like a particularly great sideboard card, you might want to just like Tainted Pact for it, and I guess I wouldn't say just hope that it doesn't brick by hitting both Jaces, but like there might be spots where you're willing to risk it. Or like there, if I had had a Thought Distortion in my deck, I probably would have Tainted Pacted and just hope to find the Thought Distortion, but if I found a Jace, just stop when I hit the Jace, and then probably not even cast it on my turn. I think that next turn I'm probably going to play the Narset. It's a little bit awkward that they've got Hall of Storm Giants sitting there, but it isn't, if I resolve a Narset, get to use it once, and then the next turn they have to tap out to kill it with Hall of Storm Giants, that's a pretty good exchange for me. Do I want to take 7 for a card? Yeah, probably. Instead of playing the Narset, I could just play Psychic Frog. If I play Psychic Frog, I can play Negate and Censor, or yeah, that's better. I'll actually play my Otawara there and just have Negate, Censor, Spell Pierce. The other thing that's nice about casting the Psychic Frog there is that... That's fine, I'm going to get a Soul Guide Lantern out of it. Oh, a Tamiyo. Forgot about Tamiyo. I was going to say, the nice thing about casting Psychic Frog there is it can't be hit by Dovin's Veto, which they could easily have boarded in. My deck is not very good at flipping this at instant speed. There is an alchemy version of Negate that I guess I could be playing. I'm just doing this to get to see my hand. I don't love this, the whole like board in surgical extraction and control mirrors. in general. It seems especially bad against the Tainted Pact deck. Like, if they hit my Jace or my Tainted Pact, it does something. Oh, I guess they were getting intel for whether or not their Fragment Reality was going to work. Alright. Do have the Restless Reef, which can block all of Storm Giants at some point if that becomes an issue. Because it has done, what, 8 damage to myself? It's probably about time to cycle the Censor. Even though they've been missing land drops, my opponent knows about it now. See what they do with their turn. Snapcaster. That'll work. That was probably the ideal card for me to hit there. There were other cards I probably would have taken as well, though. Play. Probably play 5 life for a card here. It's a little scary to pay 5 life for a card. Oh, this is great for me. Doesn't this thing have Death Touch? Yeah. They're just trading lands. And I'll actually take a card too. Both of my Tainted Pacts are gone. And but not my Snapcaster. I think I should be milling myself just because they probably still have Flage in their deck. And I could also hit, what's the name of the card? Cling to Darkness, Cling to Dust. I didn't check to see if this is actually going to hit. It did. That's nice. I get done a little bit dirty by the auto tapper. Didn't leave me enough blue mana because it tapped my underground river. I don't want to spend the mana on the One Ring this turn. I'm going to definitely cast Seek New Knowledge, and I can just use Castle Vantress after that. Unless they have Doman's Veto, which wouldn't be able to Spell Pierce, I can stop everything else. Don't need this land. Probably get rid of the One Ring. could dig through time. Find Snapcaster Mage. Probably win this turn. That seems worth it. What do you got? I'd like to see your hand. They had, no, Fry wouldn't do it. I don't think there's anything they can have that can get them out of this pickle. We have so this is probably the white-red deck I was talking about. I guess I'm going to Inquisition them to start. Sounds a little bit awkward. Oh, this is like a variant of it. Yes, I'll take Guide of Souls. If I knew I was going to have an untapped land, so I could just drown in the Loch the Guide of Souls, I would definitely do that instead, but Castle of Interest was good for me last match. This match, probably not so much. I'm going to Toxic Deluge next turn. I would assume that they're probably going to play Voice of the Blessed, or maybe they're going to play Amped Raptor. I can just Glistening Deluge now. It's not something you see every day, man, deck Glistening Deluge. That did mean that I couldn't play the Riverglide Pathway, so if I top deck a blue land, it can be a little awkward.
Nothing can break our bond.
Do I need to do this turn? Actually, I don't think I do. I think I can wait and then Toxic Deluge. A little bit more value. I'm probably going to have to drown in the Loch a Galvanic Discharge now. One thing that's annoying about playing against the white-red deck in particular is that if they have a little bit of energy sitting around, they can kill your Jace with the Galvanic Discharge when you go to combo. Which, like, sometimes there's just nothing you can do about it. It's just what's going to happen. Not what I was expecting to have to counter, but it's functionally the same. A little bit sad that they had that. I still guess I got a 3 for 2, but I got a 3 for 2 for like where one of the cards I was picking up was a card that really just doesn't do anything. Come on with Fatal Push. Some Energons, 2 free Energons. I'll wait and see. If I draw an untapped blue, then I can have access to this, change the equations.
It's a matter of give and take.
Might be in trouble here.
Test me.
I'm gonna get to see a bunch of cards, but things may not go my way.
Faster.
I haven't seen people have Amalia in this deck yet. I guess that's kind of cool. The guy with souls. Things are starting to look grim. Use Path to Peril. I don't think I needed to scry in my upkeep. I think I do need to scry now, though. That's not good enough. It actually is better than I thought it was. Really just have, they drew exactly 3 lands. They haven't even burned through a bunch of the Horizon Canopy style lands. That's good, it forces me to jump. Are we going to get to make a copy of a Mazemind Tome? That would be kind of epic. I'm not going to do that. I think I have to counter this. What, one Jace in my yard? Yeah.
This isn't even the good silverware.
Down to 6.
May our axes strike as one.
I think my best way to win is just let all this happen and hope that I kill them on my turn.
We are enemies.
This is why I'm not Tainted Pacting in response.
More join our cause.
About that winning on my turn.
I'm always a step ahead.
That was a pretty crazy game. They're not exactly the white-red deck that I prepared the strategy for, but I'm just going to board the same way. I think they're similar enough. They have a few cards that -2/-2 sweepers aren't going to line up that well against, like Soaring. Seems good enough. I don't care about cutting down the Soul Warden. If they take the cut down, I'm just going to play Cling to Dust. Even if they don't take the cut down, I'm going to play Cling to Dust on their Thoughtseize. I guess if they take the Cling to Dust, I'm not going to do that. That's the only circumstance under which I'm not just casting Cling to Dust on Thoughtseize. I guess it's also possible they play some other 1-drop that I want to kill. Second Soul Warden wasn't the 1-drop that I was thinking about killing. I wonder if their deck doesn't have Goblin Bombardment in it because it has all those black cards. Goblin Bombardment's usually one of the harder cards to beat. Just don't hit it. If they hit a Johnny here and they have a way to flip it, it's going to be real painful. It's anything else. That's actually, I guess, a little painful. Hopefully they can't just refill the board immediately. Need like a... Need them to just put Luris in their hand and pass. No. That isn't right.
This famine cannot end soon enough.
I'm going to do this before I play the Undercity Sewer because it makes the scry more useful. I'm probably just going to, well, if they take Jace, it'll be a little tricky. Wow. I don't think they took the right card at all. Because my plan was just going to play Jace, mill myself, and just try to protect Jace with my removal spells. The fact that they didn't take they didn't use their Deep Cavern Bat in a way that forced me to kill it, I don't think is good for them. It's probably the right decision for them to just go face rather than trying to kill Jace with damage. I kept the Raven Feeblement over the Fatal Push because it can kill the Lurrus, which I think I might want to be able to do. One Tainted Pact down here. There's only one left in my deck. But they're about to run out of gas, and I'll just be drawing 2 cards a turn and have a Hall of Storm Giants and Cling to Dust, so I don't need Tainted Pact to win. Soul Warden from the grave. If I hit Tainted Pact here, I can win with Cling to Dust, right? Yeah. Obviously didn't need that because I could have just used Scribe the Carnarium and I would have been winning by a mile. Need a non-creature card. Take through time, I'll lose my target. Alright, round 3. I won the die roll. It's always a good start. Alright. I think I can sequence my hand so I can afford to play turn 1 Inquisition. And then I'll have access to change the equation starting on turn 2. What's this deck? Huh. Guess I'm taking Graveyard Trespasser. Change the equation, not looking great here. This has to be some sort of like waste not deck, right? All right, I got a 2-for-1 out of the Inquisition. It's funny, they didn't even want to wait to see what they drew. I think I'm going to take this opportunity to play the Inundated Archive. I do not have the right cards in my deck for this. Matchup, that's for sure. Hopefully their hand's a bunch of creature removal. It was a Phyrexian Obliterator, that's what their hand was. really been using this Castle Vantress quite a lot. I'll wind up taking a little bit more damage if this Toxic Deluge winds up killing a Shieldred later on, but there's a decent chance it just winds up getting discarded out of my hands. So I don't think it's worth paying 5 life there. No idea what this card does. I think this card was buff. I think they get a card now, maybe. Is this life equal to the life they lost this turn? Yeah, that doesn't seem like a card you should put in your deck. Does this thing work? One or fewer cards in his hand, only as a sorcerer. Not great for me. I don't understand why didn't they just flip out Aquaclots? Why did they play this one? I didn't have any cards in my hand. It's all very confusing. I'll discard both. I get to get this guy back. Oh, I played the wrong land. That was bad. I missed out on Castle Vantress. I'm gonna die really quickly here. Oh, they're getting a pinging effect from Tiny Bones joins up, I guess. The deck is too complicated for me. I don't think I can survive through that. Alright, so this matchup is definitely one where I want the One Ring. Probably I want these card drawing creatures as well. I don't think I want Path of Peril. I definitely don't want Glistening Deluge. I don't think I want Toxic Deluge either. Was Spell Snare awful? It's probably worse than Spell Pierce. At a minimum. I probably want Negate. Don't think I want Stern Scolding. Fatal Push is maybe serviceable. Cut Down seems really bad. Bloodchief's Thirst is probably also pretty bad. So what else can I have? I don't think I really want Flusterstorm. Duress probably isn't completely useless. I guess it comes down... I don't think I want the Flute. Soul Guide Lantern. It's maybe something. Mystical Dispute. It's probably too bad to have in my deck. Yeah, I think I'll just have Soul Guide Lantern. I think maybe I messed up and this was supposed to be Spell Snare. They probably had Waste Knot in their deck. Certainly have a lot of Undercity Plunders.
Mysterious, refined, and a far better dresser than you.
They're getting priority, which means they seem to have Surgical Extraction in their hand. Good for me. You would have thought those would have gotten boarded out.
Let's tidy up in there.
Evidently not. Snow-covered island. I think I'll be milling myself because I can hit Cling to Dust.
Of the mind. It's a matter of give and take.
I think they made a mistake, not just minusing the Davriel first.
Ooh, sorry. Not really. How you play that?
Right, Rusko. Hello, dig through time. The One Ring. I think I just want Snapcaster. Actually, no. I'm going to discard. I'm going to keep Sheoldred's Edict in my hand, and I'm going to discard Prismatic Vista.
A A mind is a terrific thing to waste.
Look at that planning. Then my Restless Reef can
Struggling?
kill the Gabriel.
Good.
Think this
I don't think I realized you could mill yourself with Restless Reef. I really haven't played that much
Time
with
to
that
run
card.
again.
Oh, that was a good draw. Oh, that's a One Ring they stole from my deck. That's why it's purple. I'm definitely going to bring Spell Snare in for the Soul Guide Lantern. Even though I still haven't seen Waste Not, they certainly have 4 copies of Undercity Plunder. They drew 3 that game. I'm wondering was still in my deck, but I think that the way Undercity Plunder works is it clones the card.
Let's try this.
Yeah, conjures. Get in there, Spell Snare. Soul Guide Lantern was kind of... Well, I guess it was okay that game, but really it would have been better as Spell Snare. Tiny Bones. I never know what that does exactly, but it's not like Fatal Push has very good targets.
Dealing with you would be easier than dealing with demons. Perish the thought.
Probably going to lose pretty quickly to a Shieldred. Oh, they have Surgical Extraction again. This is going to be the game where it's good for them to just remove a card from your graveyard. They are getting a 2-for-1 off the Davriel, so I got to get a 2-for-1 back somehow. And that somehow is them having Surgical Extraction in the deck. Please don't have Shieldred next turn. Unfortunately, though, the way the game is gone, they probably are going to have it. Maybe that's not true. Waste Not. Okay. Is it important for me to get a land and play Jace? I think it is, actually. Come on, go blank. No, I needed to not whiff there. That was bad. Bad in multiple ways because it also the Murderous Riders kind of a problematic card for me. I guess I'm lucky that they've put Blast Zone in their deck so they can't cast the Obliterator. I'm actually gonna have a lot of time here. Probably don't want to just jam the Jace into their Murderous Rider, though. Oh man, they got done dirty by the auto tapper. Didn't leave them black, so now they can't play Thoughtseize or anything like that. So I guess if I hit Tainted Pact here, I just win. Come on, Tainted Pact. You're not Tainted Pact. I can't. Both of these lands are going to come into play tapped, so I guess it's still worth fishing for Tainted Pact and then hoping my top card is an untapped land if I do hit it. Kind of weird to be scrying so much with Mazemind Tome in this matchup, but that was another turn where I think an untapped land would have been pretty good for me. Although, I think I'm just going to kill them here, because I think they're going to play Phyrexian Obliterator. And they're just dead. To the Waterlogged Teachings. Man. Blast Zone was the MVP of this game. There are probably matchups where it's good for them. I'd imagine it's like a one-of in their deck. And it just really did them dirty this game. I think Phyrexian Obliterator just isn't a very good card. Isn't there the... I don't remember the name of it, but it's like a 4-mana 6/6 that people play standard.
We can figure a way out of this.
It uses oil counters. That's got to be a better card than the Obliterator. They might have had Nykthos the first game. Maybe they're trying to be a Nykthos deck. That's the logic. I don't know.
This.
Final round. I think I'm going to play this as a land. You can, with enough time, double Tainted Pact is a win. But starting from having... not very many lands isn't really a good way to go about it. Assuming I find a another land, this should be a pretty easy win. Probably going to end of turn Tainted Pact for a land. If you're in a gambling mood, you could gamble and just Tainted Pact and hope that there's an untapped land but near the bottom of your deck. There's no reason to do it in this circumstance, though. Like, if I was about to die, I would certainly do it. That gets me a swamp, which is fine. I guess if they have Disruptor Flute in their deck, they'll lose. That'd be kind of a weird card to just have in your main deck. Doesn't seem like Disruptor Flute's a popular sideboard card in Historic. People basically never have it against me. It's not like it's an unbeatable card, it's just, it is actually a pretty good card, I would say, against this deck. So their deck is obviously like a Nykthos Storm the Festival kind of deck, which I guess Karn is banned now, so they're not Karn decks anymore, but it's what the Karn decks turned into. It's much more creature focused. Get that Hive of the Eye Tyrant into play while I can.
This is all just an illusion.
Had they had Disruptor Flute and the bottom card of my deck had been a land, I still would have won. That would have been nice. Alright, so against this deck, I think I obviously want Noxious Grasp and Ether Gust. I don't think I want Cry of the Carnarium. Listening Deluge. It's kind of the same card as Cry of the Carnarium. It's probably still good. I don't know. We'll think about that one. Is Path of Peril better than Glistening Deluge? It might be. It kills the Fanatic of Ronus. I think I have the wrong pathway in my deck. This should probably be the white-blue pathway. So I could cast this part of Path of Peril every once in a while. I just put the blue pathway in my deck to make it less confusing, so there wouldn't be just like a random white land that you would always have to remember to flip over, but it seems like it's just strictly worse than having the white one. So that's probably not great. Bloodchief's Thirst is probably the worst of these cheap removal spells. This only works on white things, right? For the -4/-4. Do I want Negate? Against the Karn versions of this deck, Negate was like a must, but against this version of their deck, it's not nearly as good. So I think I don't want it. I think I'm just going to try it like this. Pretty reasonable hand. I probably want to just Thoughtseize them. We'll see though. Thoughtseize them. Maybe should have done it off the Watery Grave. Wait a second. Karn isn't banned. I really thought Karn was banned. Okay. I guess I'm getting this land then. I just want to say yet again that I thought Karn was banned. Well, that plan of preventing you from casting Karn by killing the mana creatures didn't work.
I am not frightened by you.
Just doomed. Yeah. All right, that was something. I think I went Disruptor Flute. And I think I went Negate. Don't think I want Path of Peril. Do you think I want Bloodchief's Thirst? Mazemind Tome is probably a little slow in this matchup. How about that Karn being legal? That was a shocker. I guess when in doubt, board out Sleight of Hand. Maybe board out Spell Snare. Maybe Karn is banned, but they have a special card style, and that's why they can play with it. I don't know. My history of knowing what cards are legal is not great. I will say that. This will allow me to potentially counter Karn next turn. It also gives me a blocker for Fanatic Bonus because they were kind of amassing a somewhat pitiful beatdown that me having a Delighted Halfling is going to slow down a lot. A little bit risky.
Right into battle. Let's get moving.
But I'm getting to use my mana on something else this turn. They missed their land drop. I like that. We have Cavalier of Thorns in their hand. That's a card that I'm sure is legal. And like Karn, I'm still on the fence about that one. I like the Snapcaster pile because it gives me access to Snapcaster Archmage's Charm. So I can prevent a Cavalier of Thorns from coming into play. I guess it also gives me access to Snapcaster 3 steps ahead at this point. Toxic Deluge is a little bit appealing, but I think Change the Equation's good enough. It's less risky. Oh, I guess I shouldn't have done that. It's their end step. I was confused what phase I was in. There's problems all around. I could have used the Hall of Storm Giants to kill the Kiora, but I think it's way better to just play to counter some things. A little bit of damage on this Kiora. Get it out of here. Eventually. Forgot that they could do that. This may be not good. That I killed that thing. It was definitely not good. There's the Cavalier of Thorns I was worried about. I think I really messed this one up. Unfortunately, my opponent's hand was kind of bad. My hand has been quite good.
Time to clam up.
My purpose is greater than myself.
I think they can't win from this spot. They can't stop me. Maybe I'm wrong though. Been wrong about a lot this match. Where's this thing? Yeah.
Didn't feel like fighting anyway.
Come on, Jace. One time can I find a Jace? There we go.
Love a good puzzle.
All right, it's good to be back. Hope you enjoyed it. I should be able to record day one of the tournament, hopefully. It's a little bit complicated. I have to go to a baseball game in the middle of the tournament, but I think I'll try to record around that. So stay tuned, and there'll probably be another video coming your way. Thanks for watching. Bye.